Hey guys, this is Sigh finally, and I'm Clary, and I've got a little bit of a different show for you guys today. You guys who are good enough to watch my videos deserve to know a little bit about me, and that's what today's video is. I'm going to gloss over my time as a youngster, and get into more as my time as an adult, where things changed for me, and hopefully you enjoy. I was born in Eastern Canada, as I'm sure you can tell by my accent. High's the pie that builds the boat. Um, I had a great family, wonderful family, still a wonderful family. Helped me to with everything till this day. Always had a ton of faith in me. I did the normal Canadian things. Of course, I played hockey. Um, Went to school. Wasn't the best student, because I didn't usually take books with me. Uh, Graduated, the typical stuff, and then college. I took a course in college in software development. Hated it. Did not finish. Left from there. Went out to Alberta to work on oil rigs. For anybody who's ever worked in an oil rig, anybody who hasn't, it's a horrible job. It's not a job you want. It's not a job you even want to consider. The money's good. The life is horrible. So I did that for about a year and a half. I didn't enjoy it at all. Um, I left there, came home, went back to college. This time I finished the course. By trade, I'm a machinist. And after that was finished, I began working at a place called Brunswick Smelter. Brunswick Smelter is a lead and silver refinery. Uh, that was 2003. Worked there in all 13 years before they let me go. But it was really only 6 that I was there. On June 8th, June 8th, 2009, I was involved in a horrible accident where, while working, pouring molten zinc, I was doing my job, cleaning out a chamber, and as I stepped backwards, there was a lug welded onto a mold that shouldn't have been there. I tripped and fell. My left leg went up, above the ankle, over the boot, into a mold of molten zinc. And that was the beginning of my problems. Third-degree burns from about 4 inches below the knee, some splash damage up above. I had no skin on my lower leg, no skin on the curvature of where your foot meets the front of your foot. Thankfully, the padding of my feet were untouched. There was a lot of damage. My ankles, everything was burnt right down to the muscle. There was no skin at all. There was no fat. It was just muscle. For those that don't know, zinc, molten zinc, the temperature, I'm not offhand. I couldn't. It's been a long time. I couldn't tell you the melting point, but that day the zinc was 748 degrees Celsius. So you can imagine the pain and damage that came with an accident like that. That's the day my life changed. Uh, I shouldn't say that's the day. Well, from there on, my life changed. The day it happened, you couldn't keep me down. I believe that, a couple of months of rehab after skin grafts, everything would be back to normal. I would go back to work, and life would get back to the way it was. I had a great life. I was making great money. Unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. Um, I had hope whenever it happened. I believe that things could get back to normal. As time went by, and I did go back to work multiple times. I started having problems with my feet. The skin on it, till this day, I can't walk a kilometer without without having the skin just basically melt off my foot. Not melt, but it any rubbing just tears the skin away. There's only one layer of skin on my foot, so I deal with constant bleeding. I have to watch for infection, all that stuff. But on top of that, doctors gave me a not so wonderful drug called hydromorphcontin. 6 milligrams of hydromorphcontin 4 times a day for 6 months. Hydromorphcontin, for those who don't know, is Dilaudid. Most people by now know what Dilaudid is, know how dangerous it is. At the time, I truly didn't. I wasn't a drug addict. I smoked a little bit of pot here and there, but hard drugs weren't my thing. Like to have a beer, whatever, but I had never, ever considered that I might be a drug addict. It's proof that it can happen to anybody. So, as hope started to diminish, depression started to set in. Depression goes hand in hand with drug addiction, for those that don't know, don't understand. But I went through severe, severe depression. And for the next 3.5 years, I spent my life looking for drugs. Compensation would pay me every second Friday, and every penny went in drugs. Only by the grace of my family, who didn't want to see me on the streets, give me a place to stay, give me food. They charged me rent, but the only reason they really even charged me rent was because they didn't want that money going to drug dealers. And while there was a lot of fighting and a lot of misunderstanding, my family didn't understand addiction. My father, he has a beer now and then. He's never done drugs in his life. My mother has also never ever done drugs. She doesn't drink. So they didn't understand. My dad was of the mindset, why don't you just stop? Have a little willpower. What's wrong with you? Why don't you just stop? It took a lot. It took actually him taking a course for families of addicts to understand what I was going through. I don't know what my rock bottom was, but I did try originally detox. Detox is a wonderful thing if you've got a good program. My family couldn't afford to send me to a 6-month detox program or a 3-month detox program where I would get the help I needed. The only thing around was a free program, which was 17 days. They put you on methadone, a very small dosage of methadone. They bring it down each day, a few milligrams, until you're down to nothing, keep you for 48 hours for observation, and send you out. Methadone, by the way, is just as addictive as any painkiller out there. It is a painkiller, just happens to block receptors so that you don't get a buzz off of the drug. The methadone treatment didn't work. Then for a short time I tried a methadone treatment through a doctor, where I got methadone every day, had to go to the pharmacy, pick up a bottle of methadone, drink it there in front of them. That went on a short time. It didn't help. I was still doing drugs, and for no reason, because they didn't get me high, but I was craving for them all the time. And that's a side effect of the methadone, because it is just another painkiller. Then I found out about a drug called Suboxone. Suboxone was a wonder drug for me. I spoke to my doctor, and we switched my medication. I started off at, I believe it was 12 milligrams of Suboxone. I was taking 120 milligrams a day of 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 methadone. I never would have gotten off of it. It was just making it worse. I was addicted to the methadone as much as anything else. As soon as I woke up in the morning, before I brushed my teeth, before I had my coffee, the first thing I had to do was have my methadone. It was an obsession, just like any other addiction. And so I switched over to the Suboxone, and I didn't have a lot of faith in that either, but I thought, why not try? It's got to be better than this. This Suboxone was a miracle drug. For the next year and a half, I starting off at 12 milligrams a day, I tapered down 1 milligram, depending on how I felt. 1 milligram a month. I would see my doctor once a month, and if I felt that I was still, I was still craving at 10 milligrams, he would keep me at 10 milligrams for another month, and when I went back, I would be ready to go to 9. And that went on for it took about 18 months, 20 months. But eventually, I was able to get off the Suboxone. But that didn't help my depression. Actually, I'm not sure what helped my depression. Things changed, my life changed. Started getting along with my family better because I wasn't using, even though they still, till this day, are constantly looking for signs of me using drugs. I haven't touched any in a long, long time. I haven't counted days. I know a lot of addicts count days. It's been at least 2 years in June that since I've had a painkiller. But the depression was what was then crippling me. I can't say enough about depression. It turned me into a hermit. Didn't leave the house. Started ignoring my friends. I had a garage with a brand new snowmobile that I had bought just before I got hurt. I had a 2008 Harley Softail that I had bought the year before I got hurt. It didn't matter what I had. All I wanted to do was sit in the basement alone. My parents had a finished basement, which was what I was renting. Sit in my room in front of my computer and just play games, search message boards, speak to people on message boards. But I completely ignored my friends, my family. I wouldn't go anywhere, wouldn't do anything. Even my personal hygiene started to go down because I just didn't care about myself. I felt that I would feel this way forever. And I'm not sure what helped the depression because I never took antidepressants. I think just being clean, finally getting along with my family, starting to speak to my friends again little by little, things like that brought me to a place where I could get out. I'm no longer a hermit. I get out every day. I do things. I go for walks. I go out with friends, just even if it's just to go shopping or just to hang out. But I'm no longer stuck in a basement, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. For those who are going through depression, there is hope, and I hope you find it. And that brings me to this. I've always been shy, very shy, and didn't do well with the ladies growing up. Got made fun of a lot. I was the redheaded fat kid. It's things that take their toll on you over a long period of time, and they took their toll on me. I felt worthless. It was really hard for me to make my first video, which was horrible, by the way. It was hard for me to make my second video, and as time goes on, I've only made, I think this is my fifth. It's getting easier, and it's not the idea of making the video, it's the idea of you people seeing it, even though nobody's watching at the moment. But I felt it was important. I felt it was important for many reasons. Number one, I love gaming. I love sci-fi, things that I've been into my whole life. I spoke about in my first video. And I wanted to get my face out there. I wanted to get on the internet. I wanted people to see me. I wanted to, it's another step in the right direction. And here I am today. I'll be clean 2 years in June. I'm not sure what day. But I have a lot of people to thank, and some of those people are you guys who are watching. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching these videos. Thank you for any kind comments that I might receive in the future. Thank you for the subscriptions that hopefully I get as time goes on. And thank you for being there. It gives me a place to speak about my passions. It gives me a place to speak about my problems. And it gives me a place to converse with people that I would never normally get the chance to converse with. So, I'm going to end this video here. I'll give you the normal. You can reach me anytime at Sigh Finally on Twitter. That's SIGHFINALLY. Or you can find me on here on in the comment section. I read every comment I can. And if you want to email me, it's sighfinally@gmail.com. And if you're having problems, guys, feel free to email. If you're not having problems, feel free to email. But if you need advice, if you need help, by all means, get out there, get the help you need. I did. My life has changed greatly because of it, and I couldn't be happier. Today, I'm, I was going to say healthy. I'm still about 70 pounds overweight, but I'm happy. I'm happy, and that's the most important thing. And I hope to hear from the rest of you guys soon. I hope people watch this video. I hope people enjoy this video. And this is me signing off from Sigh Finally. Thank you.